Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sheriff Adan Mendoza, Sheriff for Santa Fe, New Mexico, Santa Fe County. On Wednesday, February 26, 2025, at approximately 1:45 p.m., Santa Fe County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to 1425 Old Sunset Trail, where Gene Hackman, 95, and his wife Betsy Arakawa, 65, and a dog were found deceased.
About the final days of the 95-year-old legend and his 65-year-old wife, Betsy Arakawa, at their home in Santa Fe, investigators established that Hackman died on February 17th, 9 days before his body was discovered by examining his pacemaker.
Gene Hackman was one of 3 million Americans to have pacemakers attached to their hearts. The battery-powered devices control irregular heartbeats and can even record any unusual activities. The newest models can even alert your doctor in case of an emergency.
Renowned forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Bond presented this theory on Hackman a recent television appearance, saying, quote, "There was no carbon monoxide, and he had the most common cause of death in this country, severe heart disease, so that would cause him having cardiac arrest in the mudroom to collapse right there." Interesting theory from Dr. Bogan, being able to trace back the date on the pacemakers. Well, Gene Hackman might have been dead for 9 days, according to what? His pacemaker showed us all what else our investigators couldn't dig into, maybe the cell phones. Perhaps what can be gleaned from the scene would about off-top-seed. You hear portions of their bodies have become modified. We have 2 tremendous guests here on the program this morning. Want to bring them in now. Board-certified forensic pathologist, Dr. A Banner G and crime scene reconstruction expert, Dr. Kinsey, good morning to you both. So let's start, if we can, with the things that can give us Louis as how Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog ladies first, please, Dr. Banner change. Any time with that. I've seen in the last, and it doesn't always, it's nefarious, anything happened to me.
A cloud of suspicion surrounds the deaths of Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife, whose bodies were found in their Santa Fe home. No one had seen the couple for days, and authorities say they had been dead for some time. The sheriff now says they are not ruling out foul play. Jim Murray with the 911 call.
Gene Hackman was one of 3 million Americans to have pacemakers attached to their hearts. The battery-powered devices control irregular heartbeats and can't even record any unusual activities. The newest models can even alert your doctor in case of an emergency. The device is sending electricity to the heart. Okay, it's also taking snapshots of what the rhythm is in the heart. Now, those wires that send the electricity is also giving data back to the computer here, the pacemaker, and if that data suddenly goes haywire, that's when we know that the heart muscle itself is no longer responding, which is how you infer that that was the moment of death.
Those wires that send the electricity is also giving data back to the computer here, the pacemaker. And if that data suddenly goes haywire, that's when we know that the heart muscle itself is no longer responding, which is how you infer that that was the moment of death.
Stuart Ashman was Gene Hackman's friend for almost 30 years. He says he had become frail and rarely left the house since the COVID pandemic of 2020.
He became more reclusive. He was concerned about his immunity.
He shared this painting signed by Hackman that the actor gave him in exchange for.
Mystery surrounds the shocking death of actor Gene Hackman and his wife, 95-year-old legend, and his wife Betsy were found dead in their sprawling estate in Santa Fe. Initial reports said no foul play was suspected, and there was speculation that they were killed by carbon monoxide poisoning. But now, in a jaw-dropping turn of events, their deaths are being called suspicious enough in nature to require a thorough search and investigation. According to this search warrant, 2 maintenance workers reported finding their bodies. We just found 2. One deceased person inside a house. Are they moving at all? No, dude. They're not moving. Just send somebody up here really quick. The workers discovered the front door of the residence open. Hackman's body was found. Near the kitchen area, a deputy stated he suspected the male individual had suddenly fallen. His wife, Betsy Arakawa, was found on the bathroom floor. A prescription bottle appeared open, with pills scattered on the countertop. In no way is it adding up to me, and this is why I've handled thousands of death investigations over the course of my career, And it is such a rarity, Wuhan anomaly, to have 2 people fall over dead at one time without some major causal effect. Gene and his wife were dog lovers. Their German Shepherd was also discovered dead, but 2 other dogs were found roaming the property. I find it interesting that the
Betsy
canine
Arakawa,
is found
after the couple was found
allegedly in
dead
the closet
in their
right
Santa
now.
Fe,
The
New
information
Mexico
that's
home.
coming out
Authorities discovered the 95-year-old
so
Oscar
murky.
winner,
Gene
his
and his
wife
wife's
and their
body
dog on
showed
Wednesday
odd
afternoon
decomposition and
after a neighbor
mummification. This
requested a
is
welfare
an
check.
investigation.
The Santa Fe County
So we're
Sheriff's
keeping
Office says
everything
foul
on
play
the
is
table.
not suspected,
You know,
though the exact
I
cause of
think
death
the
remains
autopsy is going to tell us a
Celebrity
lot. The
forensic
2-time Oscar
pathologist
winner was
Dr.
known
Michael
for
Baden
iconic roles
speculated
in
that
more
the
than
couple
80
may have
films,
died from accidental
including
carbon
the
monoxide poisoning.
French Connection Lex Luthor. He also played Lex Luthor in the original Superman movies. Later generations came to know him as the vivacious patriarch in the Royal Tenenbaums. This was his last appearance at an award show in 2003 at the Golden Globes, when he received a Lifetime Achievement Award. Top of the world, top of the world. He was an extraordinary actor. He was somebody who was good at drama, who was believable in action films, and he could also do comedy. He was really funny and get shorty. So his range was really vast, which is kind of impressive, because he just looked like an everyman Hackman. Retired from acting in 2009, citing health issues last year, he was spotted walking looking frail in a rare public outing with his wife outside a restaurant in New Mexico, walking with a Connie and clutching her arm for support. Today, as Oscar preps are underway for Sunday. Show Hollywood is in mourning for the star's death. Gwyneth Paltrow posted this photo with Hackman from the Royal Tenenbaums, with a heartbroken emoji after the bodies were discovered. The New Mexico gas company tested all the lines in and around the home and did not find any problems.
That's a good question, and that question's been asked. So, I respect the Mr. Hackman's and Ms. Arakawa's regard for privacy. I think everybody here understands that they were very private individuals and a very private family. There is no surveillance, as we know of right now, in the interior of the residence or the exterior of the residence, that is going to help us determine a timeline or events that happened.
Mr. Sheriff, have investigators, Tom Manson with CBS News, have investigators been able to get into the obtained cell phones?
Not at this time. We have them in our possession. Those were collected yesterday. It's going to take a process. We do have software, and we may have to reach out to other agencies for assistance to get past, if they're password protected, to get past the passwords and gain access to that information. So this is some other things that it's going to take a little bit of time.
Sheriff, is there any information on the dog?
There are names, Nikhil McClellan from the Albuquerque Journal, there are names on prescription bottles. Do we know any idea as to who was taking any of those medications?
Yeah, due to HIPAA, I don't want to release who the medication was prescribed to or what the medication is. I think there's a HIPAA concern there, so I won't release that information.
Sheriff, do you know the nature of the pills that were found by his wife? What were those pills there?
What were they? Yeah, I think I just answered that question. I think I stated I'm not going to release the actual medication or who it was prescribed to due to HIPAA questions. Sir?
On the carbon monoxide part of it, does that, what the pathologist told you, does that rule out carbon monoxide, or is it possible it kind of dissipated from the body and you weren't able to find signs of it?
I think that's a question for the pathologist. It's with that information, I'm assuming that at the time of death that they were negative for carbon monoxide, which means to me that that is possibly ruled out. That's another conversation I think that we will have with the pathologist and OMI to make sure that that's still not indication, but it sounds like that's ruled out.
Were there any signs that Betsy was under any form of distress?
I don't have that information. Again, I